we're done talking about Trey Lance, but we're not done necessarily talking about the debacle. And I think one thing that's very interesting about the Trey Lance thing is the timing of his departure. They held on to him for such a long time, given that it seemed like they wrote him off. They held on to him through the draft, through minicamp, through training camp, gave him all those reps, pretended like there was a chance he might be the second string quarterback. Then, right before the last preseason game, they trade him to Dallas for a fourth round pick and say, wow, we're so surprised that we got this much for him considering how awful he is, but good luck, Trey. You have a bright future. We're happy to get a fourth round pick now. Before the last preseason game. Then every team plays one more game, and that night, the Detroit Lions, number 2 quarterback, Nate Sudfeld, tears his ACL. It seemed like the Niners could have just waited a day before trading Trey Lance. Or they could have waited even longer. I mean, they could have waited. There's a trade deadline in a couple of months. Why now, Dad? What was the big hurry?
Yeah. Well, again, Iggy, you're asking a phenomenal question. What was the big hurry to trade him then? They could have waited till after the weekend. They could have waited till after teams solidified their rosters. People get hurt. Sudfeld got hurt. The point is, it's like they didn't know what to do with this, Iggy. It's like they were in a panic and they thought, we have this problem. We want to make it go away. You know,
now.
Like when you're like you're a kid and you're in bed and you pull the covers over your head. Right? It's like that. But had they waited, maybe Detroit would have been interested, and maybe they could have got a third or a fourth and a sixth. What was the hurry? So again, Iggy, I say, if you make a timeline, they have screwed it up every point in the timeline, including when they got rid of him. They could have waited 3 days. They have been, it's not personal. They have been so inept, it makes my head spin.
It really does. Now, what do we know? Trey Lance, we don't know if he requested a trade, although it sounds like he did, and he did walk off. He left. He didn't go to practice. So maybe, maybe it was an emotional decision. Like, okay, if you won't come to practice, we'll trade you now. They're trying to say, like, we wanted to do right by Trey. Man, you've been doing what's right for the organization since you drafted him. You couldn't play him his first year because you had to do what's right for the organization. It's a win-now team. You got to play Jimmy. Now you want to do what's right for Trey because he asked for a trade now. Like, it seemed like it would have been really easy to say, Trey, we hear you. It sucks being the third-string quarterback, but you signed a contract. We'll do it the best we can. Hold on. Wait a week.
Or we'll get back to you.
We'll get back to you. I mean, maybe not. Maybe you might have to be our third string quarterback this year. Now, what happened? The story got leaked. Fans knew, and there's a lot of fans who are emotionally invested in this story. It's very possible if he had played in that last preseason game, there would have been chants, we want Trey, we want Trey. I don't think the organization wanted any part of that. So maybe that, I mean, whatever the reason was, it was the wrong reason. Whatever the motivation was, it was the wrong motivation. I can't imagine.
Agree. And Iggy, I want to say something else. Both Kyle and John came on and said, we want to do what's right for Trey. I don't put any stock in that at all. They're in business. And I believe that that's a public relations spin. I don't know Kyle. I knew John when he was a college student, and I thought he was a very nice man. And everybody who I talked to about him says he's a very good guy. In his heart, he may have wanted to do right by Trey, but that's not what motivated him. It couldn't be. He couldn't be a good general manager. What motivates you is for the benefit of the team, and the team did not benefit from this. The only thing that benefited was they got rid of a problem. And it's true. If the fans started yelling, "We want Trey, we want Trey," well, that would have been very hard. And you know what? They put themselves in that position. Although they got themselves out of that position. But Iggy, when they got rid of him and the way they did, it was extremely controversial.
Yeah, it's like it's their business if they want to name, if they think Sam Darnold's better than Trey Lance and they want Sam Darnold above Lance in the depth chart. But that's not going to be a popular decision. Fans aren't going to agree with that. And if you keep Trey Lance on the field after making that declaration, fans are going to voice their opinion. during that preseason game for everyone to hear on TV. It's going to be a story. I think that the Niners have had such a low opinion of Trey Lance, the player, that they felt getting a 4th round pick for him was just like manna from the gods, that like Jerry Jones is an idiot and you got to take advantage of this deal, when really literally hours later, a quarterback in Detroit got hurt. Detroit was rumored to be interested in Trey Lance. He's from over there. I think they were rumored to be offering a 5th round pick. Wait 3 hours, maybe they'll offer you a 4th and a 2nd, like you said. So I think they really messed this one up.
I think
really messed this one up.
That's really an understatement.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of words we could use. That's a very kind understatement.
I mean, I didn't realize that Nate Sudfeld had gotten injured, but I imagine at that post-game press conference when Kyle was out there and John were out, that was part of it. They realized, like, man, if we had waited a few hours, if we had just waited a few hours. Oh, well. You know who does know, though? The Yorks. I bet they do.